So, if someone was saying to a friend of yours some of the thoughts you have in your own mind about yourself, how would you react to that? I'm Coach Bobby Brown with Sober Life Right. What I do is I help people live their most amazing lives free from drugs and alcohol. I do that through one-on-one coaching, hopefully a little bit through these videos. I'm going through one of my absolute favorite books, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Got my copy right here. Jack has put together just an encyclopedia of habits and principles successful people live by or seem to live by. Like, what are these common traits that tend to lead people to be successful? I'm doing this a chapter a day, or maybe sometimes a bigger chapter I may do over 2 days. And that's kind of what I'm doing today. This is part 2 of chapter 32, which is turn your inner critic into your inner coach. Right? It's all about the words that we speak, or the thoughts that we speak, as words internally. Are they harmful or are they helpful to us? If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. There's a link to it in the description. I am an Amazon affiliate. If you purchase it through that link, then I get a small commission, so thank you for that. But regardless, just get the book, check it out. It's available all over the places, so that, multiple time best-selling book. So today I want to talk and this is one of the bigger chapters in here. It goes over a lot of things. I want to zero in on the types of ways that we can have negative thoughts. It breaks it down into several different areas. I'm going to look at my book more than I normally do during these videos. I'll see what I can do to try to tie it into my personal experience and recovery. But I think it's important to recognize like some of the different ways that we can sabotage ourselves. It's proven, like the studies have been done, like if you're hearing negative things on a regular basis, like your body and your mind are will believe it. Like it's proven science. Like even with plants, like you talk mean to a plant, it won't grow as well. Like lots and lots of studies done on this, and it may sound all kind of crazy, but hey, plants that are talked nice to grow better. Don't know why, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but truth is, the study's been done and it actually works. So I've learned sometimes it doesn't matter if something makes sense. Sometimes I just gotta look at evidence. Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me that I was an alcoholic or an addict or had a substance use disorder, but the evidence sure mounted up that I was. I do drugs, I end up in jail. I end up homeless. I end up damaging relationships. I end up losing 50 pounds. I end up sick. That's what happens to me. That's what the evidence says. So it doesn't matter what I think, if I've got a problem or not, and luckily I was able to look enough of that evidence, so I was able to get some help. And today I'm a man in long-term recovery, which means I've been living an amazing life, free from drugs and alcohol. I've been doing that since July 22nd, 2021. I've been in recovery for over a decade. So let's go into the first type of negative thought he talks about is always or never thinking. I remember first hearing about this actually in some marriage counseling I went to back, and I haven't been married for a long time, but I went to marriage counseling at one point, and I don't remember a whole lot of it. We didn't go for very long. It was helpful though. And one of the things that the therapist that we worked with pointed out was statements like, well, you never take out the trash. That word never, very rarely is that true. There may be times I didn't take out the trash. But there are certainly times I did take out the trash. And when you're dealing with other people, when you have these kind of things, or if you get it in your mind that I'm never appreciated, you never communicate, you never want to solve problems. Well, no, there's probably a lot of times where they have done these things. All right, now let's flip it around on me. I'll never be able to stop drinking. I've never been able to detox. I've never been able to go to an AA meeting and like it. Like these sort of things, like those are not, this is a type of, it's a dishonest way of speaking. And so you have to be very, very careful about that, because when you start telling your subconscious mind things like, well, you're never, or it's always going to be this way, your subconscious mind is going to fight against you. So it's going to try and make what you're telling it a reality. And it will find ways to reinforce that always never mentality. The next one is focusing on the negative. The whole glass is half empty, glass is half full thing. I am, by nature, absolutely an optimist. I somehow or another, and I'm sure it's a skill I've learned, because I feel like every behavior is something that has been learned. Not exactly sure where. Maybe my mom, she's pretty optimistic, but I am an optimistic person. I'm able to step back and I can see the good in most situations. One way that I teach others to do this, like having a daily gratitude list. If you are focused on gratitude on a daily basis, you will wire your mind to find things to be grateful for. You lost your job. I'm grateful I have time to seek out something that's more aligned with me or that will make more money. You broke up with someone. I'm grateful for the experience I got to have with that person and the lessons that I learned that are going to make me more prepared for my next relationship. It's this matter of taking control of your perspective. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Catastrophic predicting. So that's all about immediately jumping to the worst case scenario. So I've got to go to a wedding and there's going to be drinking. Oh, well, it's going to be so boring. I'm not going to know what to do. I'm going to be thinking about drinking the whole time. I probably will have a drink. Like if you've got these negative thoughts in your mind and you're reinforcing them, that's just what you're telling your mind. What you think your mind is going to try and make real. You cannot, I've read a couple of different places this time, and I don't know exactly where I saw it. Like your mind cannot picture like a negative. You can't think like not to do something. So like if I say, don't think of a purple elephant, if you listen to what I just said, there's no chance in the world that you didn't picture a purple elephant. So you have to be like kind of careful with that. And that's maybe some higher level stuff. That's some coaching stuff that I do. Mind reading. This is a big one. This ties into one of my favorite books, The Four Agreements. One of the agreements is don't take things personally. I can go into a situation. I'm real bad about this on text. Text is a horrible form of communication. I do it way, way too much. I have way too many conversations over text that I should have had in person, so that I've got body language and I've got all these other cues, these other types of communication. But I'm bad about it. I like to text. It's convenient. But I'm bad about having serious conversations over text, which had no business there. And it's I know this is a weakness of mine, and it's something I actively work on. But it's just like I like texting. So I've got to work. That's one of the things that I've got to work on and decide how important it is to me, but to try and set some boundaries for myself around this area. Have you ever gotten a text and you look at it and you immediately get offended by it? I've learned over time, somewhere I picked up, if I'm going to another agreements, don't assume, ask questions. If you think something, ask. People will tell you. But if you're going to assume, what if you filtered it through the lens that this person absolutely loves me, they want the best for me, they want to do good. So based off of that filter, what they're saying, how could I take it differently? Because I will get my feelings hurt in a heartbeat. And if I haven't learned to pause, which thankfully I have, like, so much better than I used to be. I used to be just fire, fire, fire. You say something, I'm ready. I got a quick response. My mind's moving 1,000 miles an hour. I'm decisive. I'm just going to. So you throw that all together. Now I've got in my mind how I think you're feeling. I have no real context on it. Now I have this immediate need to reply because I haven't been actively listening. I haven't been listening to understand. And so now I'm going to fire something back. And now all of a sudden something that was nothing becomes this huge explosion. I've done this over and over and over in my life. And as much growth and development as I've had, I'm not a kid. I'm 50 years old. I've been messing things up for a long time. But like, even with all that, I still do it today. But learning to pause and learning to apply the things that I have learned in books like this over the time, I've learned to pause and ask questions. And I've learned to clarify things. And I've learned to try hard not to get my feelings hurt and understand that, like, no matter how hard I try, and I do put a lot of intention into being kind, compassionate, understanding, being a good communicator. I believe, I know compared to how I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, like 1,000 times more effort into being these things. Okay. It is impossible for my mind to see what's going on with somebody else without filtering it through how it's affecting me. It's the same for anybody. Like, this isn't just like a me problem. Like our minds are not wired that way. Our subconscious is designed to keep us safe, to keep us have our needs met. And so, like, evolution has done this over generations. So, like, it's impossible to not see how things affect me. So no matter how hard I try, like, to put myself in somebody else's shoes, I still am going to see things through the lens of how it affects others. But the better I get at asking questions, the less likely I am to have problems. Guilt tripping is the next one. Everything I did was bad. If I'd only done this different. I absolutely believe that at any given moment, you are doing the best that you have, or you would do better. Now, the best you have at any given moment may not be the best you're capable of. Everything affects it though. Am I tired? Am I lonely? What else has happened today? Who am I interacting with? Like, all these things combined. So on any given moment, if you're doing the best you can, like, regrets are ridiculous. I also think having, like, strong faith and, like, a belief that God is guiding everything, even the things that seem bad in the moment, like, you don't know how this stuff's turning out. Like, I can get real caught up in how things are not going my way today. A day, a week, a month, a year, a decade from now, things can make perfect sense. I think that's something that came with age for me, wisdom. Labeling, right? Labeling is when you attach a negative label to yourself. Had a conversation with somebody the other day about whether or not it was helpful to identify as an addict. Well, for me, it's very helpful to identify as an addict, because when I identify as an addict, now I work a 12-step program. I have an amazing program that has shown me how to be an addict in recovery. My life's pretty amazing. He believed more in, he follows a pathway that's just more faith-based, and he believes in being delivered. And, like, once it's done, it's done. Jesus, in his case, has taken it. And to say that you're an addict is to deny deliverance in a way. And I'm 100% on board with that as well. The 4 agreements, once again, another thing that taught me is that, like, I have, like, all my beliefs are something I heard from somebody else. If it's not helpful, I have the ability to challenge that belief, and I have the ability to adopt something that's helpful for me. And that's a lot of how I live my life, how I chose my religion, how I've chosen that I am a man in long-term recovery. I'm a recovered addict. I'm a recovered alcoholic. All these things. And then the last thing is personalizing. It's when something neutral happens and I assign it specific meaning to me. This kind of fits in with the whole mind reading. Um, you didn't call me back. Well, that's because you don't like me. Well, there's lots of reasons you could not call me back or text me back. Maybe you're busy. Maybe your phone broke. Maybe you had other stuff going on. Maybe you were in a place that you just didn't feel like talking. Like all those, but me attaching meaning to it that's personalized to me. What you did is you did because of me, and that's almost never the case. Like it's rarely the case. So I hope this was helpful to somebody. That's one suggestion. Check out the book, man. There's so much information. This chapter is just packed. I don't want to spend more than 2 days on a chapter, so there's lots of stuff I didn't cover, but this is a really good one. If you like my videos, please ring the bell, hit the subscribe button, like, comment. If you want one-on-one coaching, put coach in the comments. Visit my website, www.soberliferight.com. Book an appointment. Reach out to me through any social medias. I will always do a free discovery call. Me and you just having a conversation, sit down and talk about where you're at, where you want to be. Do I think I can help you get there faster, cheaper? And if so, let's work together. So I hope everyone has an amazing day.